What's up, Starter Dude crew? It's yours truly, Snorted. Right now, better get into that. NBA Youngboy facing 250 years after impersonating an elderly woman to get lean. We briefly spoke on this in the other video. I only gathered the information I can gather real quick. I really just want to voice my opinion on it. Due to the fact it's just stupid. It's stupid. Stupid, man. I feel y'all was agreeing with me with the whole he made his bed, he don't have to lay in that. Even though he still do that, but it's like, why? Why this? You know, I know them drugs good. I know them drugs good. I know them drugs is good. They take you away. They take you away. And I know the things that he was dealing with on house arrest. Time go by when you high. That's how I'm gonna leave it right there. But anyway, 1090 Jake, he ain't one of them guys that's gonna say anything in the video to kind of get the story out, or just to get the story out. He gonna come with receipts, court documents, and then he'll give you his honest opinion at the end. You can't be mad at that. It's him, the Family TV, it's a few others, but them the people I can name off top. Let's go and get into this.
Rapper is facing over 60 charges after he was arrested in Cache County.
Drop.
NBA Youngboy was arrested this week at his Mill Creek home in what the Cache County Sheriff's Office is calling an ongoing investigation into criminal conduct.
We are learning new details about why young rapper NBA Youngboy was arrested in Utah yesterday.
The rapper, whose real name is Kentrell Deshaun Galden, was under house arrest as he awaited trial on federal gun charges. Several agencies, including the FBI and Secret Service, executed a search warrant yesterday morning.
September 19th, 2023. Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram, Utah, received a prescription called in for a 74-year-old woman named Bethel White. The physician who called provided the proper identification, but the number he called from wasn't from his pharmacy. A phone call to the suspected pharmacy would confirm suspicions. The pharmacist didn't have a patient named Bethel White, he never called in a prescription, and apparently someone's made several orders using his name that day. The prescription was for an antibiotic, as well as promethazine with codeine, a Schedule 5 controlled substance, and one of the most abused and
I know some of y'all might be like, oh, he tried to get lean. Infections. Antibiotics. Because like the lean self-explanatory is the lean. Niggas want to abuse. People want to abuse the lean. Alright, it is what it is. But what infection was they clearing up? And see, that's where the list kind of start and it get wacky. It get wackier. It's the wackiest when you get down to the nitty and gritty for real.
Sought after drugs in hip hop. The antibiotic was most likely just to make the prescription less of a red flag. Law enforcement would wait in the parking lot of Reed's Pharmacy waiting for someone to pick up the order, but nobody came. That same day, Spence's Pharmacy in Logan, Utah received a call from the same suspect using the same physician's information. This time, 71-year-old Gwendolyn Cox needed promethazine with codeine. 2 weeks after the prescription was called in, a female came and picked it up, stating Gwendolyn was her grandmother. The following month, Spence's Pharmacy received a...
And you know what's so crazy? That's all you need. You need name and birthday in order to get drugs from the pharmacy. Name and birthday. Now, I never had to go get like lean or Percocets or you know, the hard stuff from the pharmacy. So I'm assuming it's a little harder, but from the things I got from the pharmacy, just name and birthday and sign this and get the hell on. My own reason of bringing it up is this is not the smartest way of going about getting pills, but it's a clever one. I'm editing right now and it's hot. Niggas sweat while I edit. That's crazy. Anyway, if you watch a little bit longer to the video, I'm like, this is stupid. Let me just explain. The way, clever. Fake prescriptions, and if you able to get certain numbers and documents, clever. The way they did it, dumb. They used him, YB's car, YB's name, YB's phone, all of it. Stupid.
Second call requesting more lean for grandma. Spence's obviously realized the 71-year-old didn't just drink a whole bottle of syrup in less than 3 weeks, so this time they requested a hard copy of the prescription with the patient. So the suspect on the phone hung up the call. Spencer's pharmacy attempted to call the number back after looking up the physician's name, only to make contact with the real physician, finding out someone's been fraudulently using his credentials. On January 17, 2024, a fraudulent prescription was called into Larry's pharmacy in Smithfield, Utah. It was the same deal. Another elderly woman wanted lean, and when things looked suspicious, the pharmacy called the police. An agent assigned to the Cash-Rich Drug Task Force would conduct the initial investigation. Obvious similarities between the reports from the different pharmacies would lead officers to devise a plan. Contact would be made, and 2 females would arrive at Larry's pharmacy to pick up the prescription. They'd be detained, and officers would smell a strong odor of marijuana coming from the Chevy Tahoe they drove in. With the females consenting to a search, marijuana flakes would be found around the interior, along with an empty handgun case for a .45 caliber 1911. They'd claim the marijuana wasn't theirs, and they were picking up a prescription for a friend that they refused to name. The 2 women would later be arrested for their role in the prescription fraud ring, and officers would discover the Chevy Tahoe they were riding in was registered out of Texas under a 24-year-old man named Kentrell Golden. Kentrell would be more commonly known as rap superstar NBA Youngboy. One of the task force agents would be contacted by dispatch and informed that none other than
that was on his trail from jump, honestly. That was on his trail from jump. The first pharmacy, they ain't mess with that. Then the second one, it's like once they got that first one, they thought they had a green light on that. And then, we ain't messing with it. And then the third one, same case. So basically what I'm saying is, he was bound to drown at any moment, for real.
And Gwendolyn Cox needed to speak with him. During the conversation, she'd state her last name was White instead of Cox, and she'd give her birth month and date, but couldn't provide the age and wouldn't provide her address. It was very clear to the agent that Gwendolyn was using a fake voice, as this old woman sounded like a much younger male from the South. She, or he, made a statement saying, "Well, I asked her to, and she said,
well, I asked her to, and she said she'll have you call me.
That she'll have you call me." The terminology ax instead of ask was a dead giveaway and consistent with a southern dialect from states like Texas, Georgia, and Louisiana. The following day, a person who self-identified as NBA Youngboy's business manager attempted to contact the drug task force in an effort to get the Chevy Tahoe out of the impound. During this time, the impound company suspected the vehicle may be stolen after speaking with the so-called manager, so the task force officer requested to speak directly with Youngboy. On a conference call being recorded,
I'm saying, how they gonna call it stolen? Off the simple fact, if Youngboy managers actively pursuing that, and then all they gotta do is have him come down with the paperwork, title, because Youngboy can't leave. My bad, I don't know why that just started happening right then and there. But anyway, Youngboy can't leave. Man, come with some type of documentation. When they need his ID, yeah, they would need an ID. They would need an ID in it, and usually you can use the VIN, but not the VIN, the registration. But still though, just gonna call it stolen just off the barrelhead. It's crazy.
Reported by dispatch, Youngboy told the task force agent the females arrested at the pharmacy were family. The agent would ask about his relations to the female and if they had his permission to drive his vehicle, to which Youngboy said they did have his permission, and he asked for his vehicle back. The agent would tell Youngboy how to get his vehicle back, and the conversation would continue when Youngboy said, "Ask him about the prescription that they picked up." He paused for a few seconds before saying, "She on the fucking hospital bed. She on the hospital bed." The agent was aware Youngboy was speaking to someone else who claimed to be Youngboy's brother. The call would break up and go silent for durations of time, leading the agent to believe they were muting the call. Because Youngboy was speaking about prescriptions without being asked, showed he had knowledge of the fraudulent prescription the females attempted to pick up.
Damn.
It would also prove intent, as Youngboy attempted to further the prescription fraud by stating, "She's on a hospital bed," referring to the fake patient. Youngboy would also slip up, using the word ax instead of ask, the same way the fake patient Gwendolyn did on the phone. And at this point, it would appear obvious NBA Youngboy was pretending to be a 71-year-old woman in an attempt to get lean. The drug task force would speak with the physician whose name was being fraudulently used, and a report for how many prescriptions were successfully picked up would be made. Ann White, Beatrice White, Caroline White, Gwendolyn White, Alice White, Francine White, Francine Taylor, and Gwendolyn Cox were all fake elderly women whose names were used to pick up different amounts of codeine, sometimes repeatedly. Surprisingly, NBA Youngboy's own name, Kentrell Gaulden, will be used with a birth year of 1953 to pick up a 7-day supply of codeine. A juvenile would be apprehended at the pharmacy after attempting to pick it up. Additional calls were made using Youngboy's real name and real birth date by someone in Houston, Texas. It was discovered the same white Tahoe registered in Texas that the females were arrested in could be seen in one of Youngboy's music videos. Further investigation.
It's like, alright, shoot nobody bill. This stupid is me. But I just seeing so many like holes in the like, why y'all using the dude real name? Even though he a highly profiled, that claim of using his, a good lawyer can get him out of that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, alright, why y'all using vehicles registered to him? Why y'all using practically the same names? It's like, I don't know, it's like a lot of breadcrumbs they got left. You know, and like I said, I ain't trying to shoot nobody bill. It's just like, this is stupid. And this Youngboy's rich. Now, I know he was under supervision constantly. Rich. All I'm gonna say is cash is king. Money is motive. I'm trying not to cuss, my bad. But money is motive. I just feel like there's so many other ways could have got his fix. So many other ways could have got his fix. Especially with a bag. With a bag, go get your fix other ways, man. All right, let me keep it going, man. I'm just
in the Youngboy was conducted after he was identified as the primary suspect. Rising from the trenches of Baton Rouge, Youngboy is documented to have lived in Louisiana, Texas, Georgia, California, and Utah. He's also currently on federal pretrial probation as he awaits trial for a federal gun charge for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The rap star's criminal history is not only extensive, but violent. Back in 2016, Youngboy was arrested on 2 charges of murder in Louisiana as a juvenile. The charges were eventually reduced, and Youngboy would be convicted of aggravated assault with a firearm, while his second charge of attempted murder was dropped entirely. This conviction alone would make him a convicted felon. In 2018, he'd be arrested for aggravated assault and kidnapping, with the kidnapping later being dismissed. Youngboy would plead guilty to a lesser charge of simple battery, resulting in a misdemeanor conviction and 12 months of probation. In 2019, Youngboy would be arrested for marijuana in Georgia, and in 2020, he'd be arrested in Louisiana for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, distribution of marijuana, possession of a controlled substance, illegally carrying a weapon, illegal possession of a stolen firearm, and possession of a controlled substance. In 2021, the feds would indict Youngboy for his Louisiana gun charge, and 3 years later, he'd still be on pretrial release. Youngboy has been identified by the FBI as the leader of the NBA street gang. The gang itself is a group of Youngboy's associates that have been classified as a gang because of their structure, affiliation, and violent behavior. Youngboy's music is heavily influenced by that behavior, as he is consistently rapping about shooting and killing people, using drugs, and having a strong dislike for law enforcement. The rap star currently resides in Huntsville, Utah, within a multi-million-dollar mansion he's named Gravedigger Mountain. With an ankle monitor, Youngboy needs approval to leave his home for any reason, to the point that it doesn't even matter if it's a doctor's appointment. All guests that enter Gravedigger Mountain also have to be approved by his federal probation before entering the property. The same suspects that would be caught up attempting to pick up fraudulent prescriptions were all on Youngboy's visiting list. On April 16th, 2024,
did not know that. I did not know they had to sign in and all that.
A search warrant was executed on Gravedigger Mountain. Everyone with the
I'm saying he had a whole bunch of women. I ain't gonna lie. Bro, he had all them women there. If I wanted lean, whatever, pills, whatever, if I was that much of a drug addict, for real, I ain't gonna lie. Like, if I want to buck the system, I'll buck the system type. But anyway, you got all these women up there. Shit. Oh, that baby bottle up there. For real. Lean, shut that bitch up the. Hey, come in this with that shit. Hey, on some real shit, man. If I was a drug addict, I had all these women around me. They love me, or whatever. They love what the hell I do for them, whatever. And shut this baby bottle up there. I'll get in. I'm finna go in this room, get high. Like, I got a whole little move set. Hey, we disposing of this motherfucker. Wait a minute. This nigga got kids. So a clean baby bottle makes sense in his house. Man, they can shove 1,000 pills up there. Hell yeah.
Within the mansion was detained, including Youngboy, and after being read his rights, he agreed to an interview. Youngboy was asked about the presence of firearms inside of the home. He said a gun belonging to his wife was inside, and Youngboy was asked if he ever handled the gun or if his DNA would be found on the gun. He denied that his DNA would be found, but stated 2 days earlier he had picked the gun up and moved it from an open area, placing it inside of a drawer. He'd claimed that was the only time he touched the gun, further stating his wife always has the gun within reach throughout the house. Youngboy was asked about prescription drugs in his house, and he'd state he has a prescription for promethazine. He provided the doctor's name who prescribed it and said he was local. When asked if he had any doctors in Texas, he'd say no, and continued to deny having been prescribed drugs from any other doctor. When asked about his associates picking up fraudulent prescriptions, he claimed to have no knowledge of their activities. He confirmed his association with...
he ain't say nothing that's too bad in his favor besides that picking up the gun situation. That one probably hurt him the most out of anything.
3 of them, and when confronted about the call with the agent, he stated he didn't remember, making suggestions the agent likely spoke with his dad. But the agent would note Youngboy has a very distinct voice and that it was in fact him on the call, as the agent later spoke with Youngboy's dad and could tell it wasn't him. Youngboy was interviewed further but continued to be deceptive and deny knowledge of anything illegal. During the search, law enforcement found a prescription bottle inside Youngboy's bathroom within the master bedroom. The bottle was prescribed to Caroline White, one of the fraudulent names. An antibiotic would be found within Youngboy's name, but with the birth date from 1955, and another bottle of promethazine would be found without a label. A handgun Youngboy admitted of possessing would be found within the master bedroom closet, with an empty magazine and 1 round loaded in the chamber. 3 more bottles of promethazine would be found inside of the home, and all electronics was seized. NBA Youngboy would be placed under arrest and charged with possession of a weapon by a restricted person, pattern of unlawful activity, 20 counts of identity fraud, 20 counts of procuring or attempting to procure a drug prescription, 20 counts of forgery, and possession of a controlled substance being marijuana or spice. Now, while it sounds like Youngboy clearly has a drug problem and was using his team to obtain them, how serious are his actual charges? For possessing the weapon and the pattern of unlawful activity, he faces up to 15 years each. Both fraud and forgery carry up to 5 years in prison, while trying to get a prescription carries up to a year. Because he faces 62 charges, NBA Youngboy is facing, at maximum, a total of 250 years. But it's highly unlikely he'd receive that sentence, as that's the max punishment on every count. What is likely to happen is the feds will indict Youngboy again for being a felon in possession of a firearm the same way they did after his arrest in Louisiana. If this happens, we can expect his pretrial release to be gone and Youngboy to be kept in a federal facility until both federal cases come to an end. The fact that he admitted he moved the gun is an admission of guilt, which his lawyer will have to fight to get that statement thrown out.
I mean, why that would be okay for his wife to have the gun inside the house, but not okay if he moved it? I don't know. I just find that crazy. This is probably the closest person to him, his wife. His wife. Not necessarily saying everywhere she go, he go, or wherever she go, he go. Not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying shit. It might be times where they might be at that doctor's office or going to handle, let's say, errands that they both need to handle, and he'll have that damn gun, or she'll have the gun. So I'm just wondering why that's okay and why him moving it to the closet is not okay. Just because he put it in his hands and put it somewhere safe? I don't know. I just find that weird.
On top of that, the gun was found loaded in his bedroom closet, meaning while he may not have physically possessed it, even though he said he did, he could still be charged with constructive possession for the simple fact that he had access to it. Obviously, being placed on house arrest for years is damaging to one's mental health, and a drug addiction can blur one's mind. But we'll just have to wait and see if Youngboy's legal team is able to find sympathy while prosecutors seek punishment and a judge weighs out justice.
Like I said, the whole thing is stupid in my opinion.